everyone, welcome back to Fastback Racing. My name is Jason and this is part 36 of Starfield. And we're continuing with UC Vanguard. We're gonna go up and talk about the attacks on New Atlantis. Alright, let's get going.
Whole building's on lockdown. Is it over?
That's a relief to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
We're counting on you, Captain.
Captain,
Let my people sacrifice
Hadrian,
be vain.
it would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, will consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
I had some ideas on that front, Captain, but we'll get to that. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. The very next item on my list. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. Get you access to those credits and real estate you're after. So, will you help us? It has its perks. Only citizens can purchase property in the city. We also pay reduced prices on most goods and services across the UC. There's also a credit disbursement when you first join. Help get you on your feet. But above all, you'd become a dedicated part of the greatest faction in the galaxy. If you're willing to help us, we can open that door. I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
The things we do here, the tech.
I'm gonna go check in with Chief Agent.
I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second in command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct? Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varoon. Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people, the ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varoon, to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done. Very funny. This is going to be hard enough already. Both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate. And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative. But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varoon? The good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. It sounds as though I will enjoy this. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her. Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support. And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code. Said like you've done this before. UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage. But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell. So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen. Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you. Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Radcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs of embassy life, and someone who very likely hates her guts. Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over, but I can't make any promises. All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up, you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise. And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there. Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmor stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. But claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval. Well, these days, they're primarily considered a security threat. House Varun Zealots, a fundamentalist outshoot of the group that stayed behind when the rest retreated into seclusion, want nothing more than to send everyone not dedicated to their cause to the great serpent in the sky. But that hasn't always been the case. After they ended the Serpent's Crusade about 70 years back, House Varun did take a real run at trying to normalize relations with the rest of the galaxy. It's why they have an embassy here in the first place, why they were included in the armistice negotiations. But then, without warning, they left, leaving behind, to our knowledge, just the ambassador and his duty under the armistice.
Yes, just like us. How magnanimous of you.
Of course, but there is another wrinkle. We're not 100% sure Balmor is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting. Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice. The Varun delegation brought more than a few of their native flora with them when they set up in the embassy. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish, making it hard for us to verify what's flora and what's ambassador. The embassy is still legally House Varun's sovereign territory, so we're not technically permitted inside. We've snuck in the occasional spy, of course, but the ambassador has proven more evasive than you'd expect for a man of his age. But we're quite sure he hasn't left the city. The man stands out. Then you search the embassy for his biometric key, collect your code piece, and we'll go about notifying his next of kin, if we can ever find them. But let's hope it doesn't come to that. I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there. Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
build a monument to the people they lost, but not the people they killed. I cannot help but notice that the Colony War Memorial is in direct line of sight of this embassy. I suspect that was very much intentional.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby, offices, or...
I wonder how many times one side or the other has threatened to close this embassy down over the years.
Terramorphs? As in more than one? All that security and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, yeah. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Official business? Talk to the ambassador. Guests can make themselves
That
comfortable.
woman is an absolute... Oh, sorry. Oh, what? You're the Vanguard captain, right? You know, I was about to board the Nat to the spaceport when the alarm triggered. Sounds like I got real lucky. And like I've got you to thank for things not being a lot uglier. Well, then you have my earnest thanks. But look, they said you were coming here on official business. The ambassador likes to handle all that personally, even if she does have trained diplomats here to help her. And I don't want to get shipped back to Aquila City, so you should probably go speak to her. You want to work with me? Why don't we talk somewhere a bit more private? So you want me to work with you? But why now? Why me? No, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. And no other city should have to go through what happened here. So then, what would you need from me? Okay, First, you need her bio key, and that thing doesn't leave her side. Better chance of splitting the atom with a spoon than me getting that from her. Her quarters. Well, that's doable. And you and the UC will be providing me with what for my services? That much. Okay. You have a deal. Okay, so there's a utility corridor that leads to the ambassador's quarters, which you can access through the main conference room. Here, the key. Whatever you do, don't let the guards see you entering or exiting the utility section, or you're gonna be in serious hot water. I'll keep an ear out for more instructions from the UC. Who's that?
Something's wrong. What are you doing in here? Freeze, start security! Stop running! You're leaving the embassy now! Oh, you're leaving.
No, I will not help you hurt people.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby, offices, or...
I wonder how many times one side or the other has threatened to close this embassy down over the years.
They still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I
just wish I had received the news from an
This building is
SSN
Freestar Sovereign
broadcast.
territory.
We have a strategic
So here,
advantage to maintain,
we're the
Mr.
law.
Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here? I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. Oh, stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Yes, I would request the same. This is unpleasant to watch. See, even your compatriot can't stomach such a sorry display. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. One to convince me. Understood. I'm listening. You know that for sure. That is interesting. Please don't talk to me like I'm some cold-hearted monster. I'm trying to protect lives too. A ranger serving the cause of the colonies. You must really believe in this little endeavor. Well, Captain, you make some good points. But if I'm really granting you access, I'm gonna need the following concessions. Your access will be limited. You can only take out the items related to stopping these terramorphs. The monitors will make sure of it. You go in once. You get everything you need on your trip, and never again. And all research done with the data will be monitored. If this data is being used to save the galaxy needs to be involved in the oversight. Freestar scientists will watch your people like hawks. So, do we have an agreement? Excellent. Follow me.
Sorry. Everyone's a little on edge after the attack.
They tell me it should only take a moment. And there. Here, I'll reach out to Deputy McIntyre. We'll coordinate. It's not supposed to be a long process. It is for emergencies, after all. indicate that they have not demolished the structure, even if diplomacy has ended for now. It may not have been their intention, but it represents hope. This is certainly different than anything else in New Atlantis. Decades unsupervised, and it seems this team has decided it now owns this place.
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the Great Serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss. Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly? Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guiding you through the intercoms to restore the environmental controls. And release me. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, perhaps not a topic for this exact moment. But I must know of the rest of the city. Does it still stand? I take it you didn't have such an experience where you were then, hmm? Yes, the entire embassy was thrown into lockdown, trapping me in my quarters, disabling the Venom tree's filters, and arming the defenses. A disconcerting experience, to say the least. Was the rest of the city spared? Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. Who else could just waltz through my door? Hmm? And the broadcast spoke of terror morphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code. So the UC requires information, then. On terror morphs, presumably. Do I see this all clearly? The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy. With little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
You have mine as well, for what that is worth.
Well then, I shall not fear. Please, follow me.
I think you may be trying to take a little too much on. Literally.
Let's hope it still works. And there. Let it be used for good. The Great Great Serpent guide your path. House Varun committed itself to the armistice. This was said at the time to be the desire of the Great Serpent, and I do not believe the Serpent decides such things on a whim. So, when my brethren left, I remained, honoring the Serpent's will as I saw fit, as is the right of all his followers. It was tolerable, even pleasant, when my brethren were here in the embassy with me. We remade this place as best we could into a home we all would recognize. Our native flora, our iconography, our connection to the Serpent, they came with us. With my brethren gone, it has been trying. But the Great Serpent has always provided me a path in my darkest moments. The Great Serpent is so much more than a god. It is fate itself. When our founder, Jinan Varun, left the United Colonies 140 years ago for distant stars, it was the Serpent that compelled him to found his now great house. The Serpent made us who we are today. Its voice speaks to us, shepherding us through the dark, and infuses our lives with the meaning the universe so often fails to provide. The affairs of House Varun are our own. They left. That is all there is to be said on the subject.
If you are free soon, can we talk? I have been curious. I know that your role in Constellation was thrust upon you in an unusual way. But that experience does not demand that you stay. You could have delivered the artifact and then left. Why do you stay? One that, hopefully, will soon be solved. My past is complicated. Anyone in Constellation will tell you I do not speak much of it. But my family always stressed the importance of having a purpose in life. You must have a reason for being. This group of people, who by rights would never associate with one another, has come together for a common cause. That is impressive on its own, before considering the magnitude of the work they have undertaken. Possibilities it holds. Yes, that is one way of putting it. I am often surprised at how reluctant some are to agree with the idea. They sometimes seem offended I would suggest such a thing. When I first came to New Atlantis, I was shocked at how many people go about their business every day like drones. They do their jobs, eat their food, sleep in their beds, all seemingly without concern for anything around them. Complacent. Their experience is so different from much of the settled systems. They do not know how good they have it. Yes, they were. I did not grow up amidst such luxury. Purpose cuts through adversity. I know that all too well. And these people seem to have no idea. I have. There have been times where I wondered whether it was worth it. My family is unique within the settled systems. I grew up outside the bounds of the United Colonies, or the Freestar Collective. My parents, and their parents before them, did not believe anyone outside our family could be trusted or relied upon. You can imagine, I am sure, how existence without ties to others is challenging in space. They believed, and still do, that anyone who was not part of our family did not share our values, our goals, and was ultimately a potential threat. My time in the settled systems has mostly led me to agree with them. It has certainly proven valuable. Saved me a few times, without question. For now, though, it would seem you and I have found purpose in Constellation. I believe that is enough. I am pleased that we have common cause and have enjoyed our time together. Thank you. I also wish to be prepared for any situation, but there are practical limits, no?
Excuse me.
You're only as safe as your equipment out there. Welcome to Outland. We deal in only the finest, most reliable gear for whatever adventures may await you. All of our products come highly recommended by individuals who have devoted their lives to distant travel. And while I've never needed them myself, I stand by everything we offer. As I've said, I wouldn't sell anything that hasn't been recommended by frequent travelers. And of course, if they're frequent, that means their equipment is working. Please do. I hope we have something that suits you. Get it? Yes, by all means, have a look. Goodness, no, I just couldn't. You're out there millions of miles away from anything, and if something goes wrong, I can't stomach the thought. I prefer solid ground under my feet at all times. And preferably a hot, fresh coffee within reach. Can't get those in space either. I do. In this line of work, it's essential, don't you think? Not seeing people come back would not only suggest that they're not satisfied with our business, but that whatever they purchased had failed, leaving them unable to return. I would not be able to sleep at night if I thought that were the case. Be careful out there.
What response?
I'm told by top officials they have been already.
Captain. Congratulations on joining the ranks of the Vanguard.
Captain, you're back sooner than... Oh, wait. Did you actually succeed? With Radcliffe? And Balmore? We're all in agreement. So the old man was still lurking around in there. Fine work, Captain. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival monitors. When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the codes. Follow them to the letter. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance is just on the other side of the plaza across from Mast. Absolute best behavior down there, all right? What is it?
Indeed I do. All yours. If there's anything you need, I am happy to share.
water is unsafe.
Yes? You needed something?
There you are.
Captain? Deputy told me what went down. Impressive work.
Captain, if you'd be willing to transfer the documents to the Major, she and I have been discussing what comes next.
Time for us to start getting some real answers and figure out if we've been asking the right questions. So whenever you're ready. You're carrying the most comprehensive collection of information on terramorphs in the known universe. If we can't pry an answer out of there, it likely doesn't exist. Certainly doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but we're not going to know until Percival and I dig in, so whenever you're ready. All right. Just make it quick, I guess. Time for us to start getting some real answers and figure out if we've been asking the right questions. So whenever you're ready. Acknowledged and accepted, Captain. So with the data out of the way, we've been discussing where exactly this work's getting done. The Red Devil's headquarters on Mars, back where you found Percival, seemed the natural spot. Already has the equipment, the safety measures. Though it sounded like the deputy had a few more things she needed to discuss with you first.
Indeed. The most important of which is getting you your citizenship.
Then I guess we'll see you on Mars.
Captain, if you'll follow me.
What?
All right, Captain. Are you ready to become a citizen of the United Colonies? Good. This isn't the only item we need to discuss, so I'll give you the short version. Please raise your hand. Captain, through your actions today and in days past, you have earned your place among the United Colonies. Through service, bravery, strength, and upholding of the mutual good. Will you carry and cultivate these values for as long as you remain a citizen? Then, Captain, I'm pleased to welcome you into the United Colonies as a full citizen. Here, your official ID and your citizenship dispensation. We've also let the Aphelion Realty office out in the plaza know you're approved to purchase property. Now, the other item we needed to discuss. There's a member of the UC who's asked to speak to you, but this person is in a sensitive position. Normally, we wouldn't even consider something like this, but we think this person has information that could prove useful in dealing with the terramorphs. And they've stated they'll only share it with you. They asked for you by name. So I need your agreement that everything you're about to see is kept in the strictest confidence. You can tell no one. Can you agree to these terms? Let's hope it never comes to that. Head to the elevator. You're going to subsection 7. I'll make sure you're cleared for access by the time you get there.
Are we at all surprised that the UC has such a massive space dedicated to secrets?
Logging. Authorized entry. Unsealing access. You may proceed down the corridor. But there are no additional visitors permitted. Your friend's gonna have to wait out here.
Very well. Then.
Welcome, Captain. Please, come down and approach the intercom. You and I should chat. President Abejo was kind enough to give me a few files to peruse. Quite the series of accomplishments you've managed. But now you face a foe unlike any other. An invisible enemy, lurking in the shadows. You're going to need all the help you can get, which is why I hoped we could speak. Do you know who I am? There's a reason for that. Introductions first, though. I'm Francois Sanon, but most know me as Victus. I was an admiral during the Colony War. One of its great villains, if you believe the slates. I was to be executed for my crimes, but the previous regime deemed me too valuable to simply discard. So they put me here, a sacrifice on the altar of peace. Even my death served the colonies. One final act of rebellion by the leadership that lost the Colony War. The trial was authentic. I faced tribunal with dignity, but my execution, staged. A lethal injection that was anything but. The cabinet at the time, long gone now, wished to keep me on as an advisor, and considering the other option, I was in no place to refuse. So I elected to trade my freedom for my continued existence. But such is the life of a soldier. To warrant my execution, the official charges I faced after the war were twofold. The first was the destruction of civilian ships during the Battle of Cheyenne, a battle during which those civilian ships were actively attacking my fleet. The other was ordering the bombing of the Londinian spaceport to halt the spread of the Terramorph outbreak there. The city and its citizens were lost, but countless others likely saved. And for doing what was right, I was put on trial. And my life irrevocably changed.
I established, and was given all the finest training to support it. And she excelled. But the universe cut all that short. Now, though, it's placed even more crucial work in front of the two of you. And I think I have a part to play in helping you accomplish what you've set out to do. After some long years earning the trust of this current regime, the UC has been permitting me to work alongside one of their recovery teams, helping them gather intelligence on, locate, and organize scenarios to lure in some of the criminals that evaded justice after the colony war. With quite a few successes, I might add. But in the process, I managed to find something else. The names and locations of Hadrian and Percival's old research team. Valuable manpower for the effort you're about to embark on. I'll tell you where they are, but in exchange, I need something dealt with. Well, who better to find them? But many of them I knew personally, and I've always had a mind for details. Where someone was born, next of kin. You'd be shocked how often an otherwise brilliant criminal flees to the planet just next to the one where they were born, or where a family member resides. I simply use my own personal knowledge and the information our group collects for me to track them down and set things right. There is a former colleague of mine, a man by the name of Dr. Reginald Orlees. Like myself and Hadrian, he was involved in some of the United Colony's more problematic lines of research. Mech weapons were his specialty. If it dealt death, he could make a deal more. When the colony war ended, he fled, refusing to face tribunal, and has continued to peddle his skills to the highest bidder to this day. But I finally found him. I want you to track him down and deal with him, however you're able. I'm not expecting you'll come quietly. Bring me evidence that the job's done, and I'll tell you what I know. Captain, your files indicate a track record of unlikely successes. It is my genuine hope that, perhaps down the line, you might become a part of our team. And this might be something of a tryout. Speak to Deputy McIntyre. I'm sure she'd be happy to hear that someone might be tying up this loose end at long last. Though I would ask you, do not make the mistake of confusing me for a simple cutthroat. You can certainly try, but the man's been out there 20 years. He's likely gone feral by now. Easier for all if you simply blow up his ship and be done with it. If that's what you require to sleep at night, so be it. According to my information, he's been hiding around the world of Etheria, Wolf System. There's a star station in the vicinity. The Den. The head of the local vanguard, one Captain Marquez, should be able to help you find our man.
need something, I will watch your back.
Captain, did your meeting go well? I hope it's clear now why we needed you to agree to all the secrecy. Captain, please, keep your voice down. The situation with the prisoner is a complex one. A holdover from a different era. But it's a situation we've been managing as discreetly and humanely as we can for some time now. And the most critical part of that management is making sure no one else learns of it. Do I make myself clear? Good. Because bringing this up to the outside world would create the unfair appearance, Captain, that you're unhinged. And that's not a good look for any of us. Now, was there something in particular you needed to discuss about what we were just discussing? Dr. Reginald Orlaise? He's finally found him. Of course, killing Orlaise is completely out of the question, but bringing him to justice... He's been on the lam for years. That'd be a huge win for the UC. What's being offered in return? Really? You found the members of the research team. We'd already initiated a search for them, but it'd save a lot of time and manpower if you just gave us that information. Captain, if that's the deal, you have my endorsement. Just so long as you make every effort to bring the man in alive. Now, was there anything else you wanted to discuss regarding your meeting? The Den? It's a star station, orbiting Wolf, the second star station actually to bear that title. The first one was blown to smithereens by House Varun during the Serpent's Crusade. The place has always acted as a remote strategic hub, primarily for repairing and refueling UC military vessels. But because of its distance from the rest of the UC, things there have always been a little more lax. Patrols included. I can think of worse places in the galaxy for a criminal to hide out. Trusting the man downstairs would be a mistake, but I don't think you need to be too concerned. This is far from the first name he's handed over, and all previous missions went off largely without a hitch. So while I'd certainly warrant caution, I think you can proceed. Then I'll bid you good day, Captain, and remind you of the importance of discretion.
Alright, I think this is a good stopping point for part 36 here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.